like, me care, hostel, that's so sketchy, that's so scary. And like a whole Nigerian like you. Hello, welcome to ZeeGoes, and this will be a new style of content I hope to start producing within my travel channel, and let me know what you think about this. But yeah, I find that I tend to rant about different things to my friends, and sometimes they're not really in the mood to hear it. I figured, why not just rant on here? And sometimes my friends like be like, Zainab, you need to like highlight this on your channel, you need to let people know about what's happening over here. And I'm just like, but I'm just showing like the fun stuff of travel. Like, that's not all travel is about. Well, like, there are some things we're experiencing here in Nigeria that really just like, it's just saddening, I guess, because we have a beautiful country here. There's so much beauty. Nature here is amazing, and because of many things affecting how to showcase those parts to other people, it's just, yeah, it's depressing. And one thing that's been bugging me this past week has been the Tarkwa Bay story, where for those who may have read my old articles when I used to write for The Guardian on travel stories, I wrote about Tarkwa Bay about 2 years ago or so, and I had a whole video on my overnight stay at Tarkwa Bay with my friends, where we felt so safe, and it was just amazing experience overall. And when I first moved back to Nigeria about 10 years ago, I wouldn't like, Tarkwa Bay was a spot where I would never go to because I just felt so unsafe going there. It just seemed so sketchy. I just didn't vibe with that kind of scene, and they spent so much money and time to make it into what it is, where everybody goes there now. It's now this spot where, oh, I'm a bit bored, I'm a bit whatever, I want to just enjoy the beach. You just get on a boat, get to Tarkwa Bay, and you just relax. You take your own food with you because they don't really have food spots on there. But then it was just that little like space you could just go to escape the crazy of Nigeria and of Lagos, really. And so when I heard about the Navy, the Army going to Tarkwa Bay and like having their guns out there and just shooting up out there and having people pretty much pack out of their homes for over like decades, like families having to move out ASAP, like there was no warning that we know of, and it was just been sad, depressing, and just like disappointing because these people have done so much to make it into what it is. It has been an effort from, I heard about like the lady who runs pizzeria, where she was the one who took in the time and effort to train the people and let them know of the value they had in Tarkwa Bay and how to make it into an avenue of strength for them where they earn money from this space. And so the case where back in the day, when I first went to Tarkwa Bay was about maybe 3 years ago, went with Fiki Marine. I remember going on Fiki Marine boats. So you go to the best place you can get to, and then we'll walk in through the water and go onto the beach and go onto the shore. And back then, like, if you're carrying coolers, you're carrying different things, you hire the kids who were there to work, you pay them a small fee to help you get it back from point A to point B to your hut. It was like, that was what the case was back then. And then a few months later, I know I went there 2017 November or so. They then had like this floating jetty they were using, where you see like a group of men who pull like this massive jetty towards the boat, towards the big boats, towards the big boats, and then people will then offload onto that jetty, and then we'll then walk onto the beach, and it was like a much cleaner and easier process. And in that time, you could see they're trying to build a more permanent jetty where we could actually walk onto it. The boat will go close to the stairs, and then we'll walk on the step onto the jetty, and that was growth. And I know that since my first time going to Tarkwa Bay, we've always been paying 200 naira fee for access. And it was evident in the fact that they were doing things with the money we were paying into that space. It was helping the community as well as helping them grow and make the space even more tourist friendly. And so it was disheartening to hear on Monday that the army had gone there guns blazing to displace thousands of people from their homes, and now we have people who don't have homes everywhere in Lagos who don't have the jobs they used to have, that every weekend they know that, oh, every weekend I will have these guys who will come and buy my beer from me, buy my snacks from me, pay for the entryway into Tarkwa Bay. Things have now been displaced, and we're not quite sure if that would affect the beach business. But then it's tough. It's tough because their homes are gone. So like now they have to worry about a lot more than just making sure the beach is friendly for us to come onto. They need to have a space to go sleep at night now. And that's just so sad, where I reckon it's most likely a case where, because they've done so much and made that space become worthy and become tourist friendly to the average Lagosian, the average traveler coming through Lagos, the army, the navy, who really do own that land, and they now see it as, oh wow, we can probably make it become a more resort friendly type space, upgrade the whole thing, maybe have investment come in, have companies build on this space, and pretty much ignore the job and the work that has been put into it. On the flip side, what they're saying is that because they are tapping into the oil pipes along the coast, and that because they have so many vandalism happening on that end, they were forced to displace about 10,000 people from their homes within a day. So that's what they're saying. I still think what I think, but let me know what you think. And it's just sad because that's just typical Nigeria for us, where they don't care about the people and about, okay, hey, because like, hey, in a case where, yes, I understand that man must chop, man must make money, so they never may see it as, okay, hey, we have this piece of property over here, let's do more than just this with it. Okay, that's fair, but then at least figure out how you can move the people who rely on that space for home, for their families, for their businesses. First, help resolve that before you just throw them out and not really care about the repercussions, because in the end it will be us who have to deal with it. It will be us who then, now we have people who don't have homes on the streets trying to get money the easiest way possible to afford to feed their family. And then if you now have more robbers on the streets, who do you blame? The navy or the people? It's frustrating and so disappointing, and I don't even know, like, I'm just like, at what point do we do better in Nigeria? At what point do the government do better and figure out a better way? Because number one, it should be the government for the people, by the people, and we don't have that right now. And let me not even just rant, because I could spend a whole day ranting about how I feel about this. Let's move on to a different news where for those who don't know this, who haven't been following the US visa issue for the past couple of years now, where last year it became no more Dropbox happening anymore in Nigeria, where it was an easier process for those who are American, who've already had the visa in the past, and so they're already been security checked and cleared to just simply drop their documents in the Dropbox system, and then from there they can get their visa within a set period of time. And then it became no more Dropbox. So those who found it easy to get the visa, it became about the same as those who never had visa before, and you're on the same long queue process, where I had friends who are really well traveled, who can afford to travel, who are just going there for a holiday or going there just for business, and they couldn't get visa last year. And that was like a major thing, where some people would then fly to Abuja from Lagos just to go get the visa, because we are more people in Lagos, so the odds are you're having to fight with thousands more people for that same set number of visa to give out every day. But like, if you folks were able to just simply do that, and even the few folks who did, I think one or two got a visa to America. So it's become a very difficult process. And even the sad thing is that you pay so much money for the visa, and they now want to give you for one single entry for 1 week or for 2 months, and then it's just like, it became a lot difficult last year. Only then to now find out that Uncle Trump, Donald Trump, Mr. President, has now pretty much made it much more difficult for everyone involved now. And we're not quite sure how terrible it will be for those who need to apply for visa from next week, because apparently from next week Tuesday it will be implemented. So the plan is, so Nigeria has now been placed on a restricted list for visa into America, and they're saying that because of Buhari and the fact that he hasn't been Nigeria is no longer really, well, hasn't really ever been, but whatever, it's a different story entirely. Nigeria is not really supporting freedom of people, freedom of our rights. We don't really have freedom, like, you know, rights here, really. Like, it's just that we have, you know, we're a democratic country story, but reality is like, if you move out of line and you say something against somebody, you may be in prison tomorrow, you know. So many folks who do speak out loud against the president, we've seen things happen that have been very jarring, like a thing where many actions have been taken in the past few months that be like, whoa, like, I thought we had freedom of speech in this country, but apparently not, because you will get thrown into jail because you said the truth about what's happening, and because they don't like to hear the truth, it becomes a whole big problem. And so that's been an issue in fact that we've been living with in Nigeria. So that's one part there. And so he said that that's one of the issues as to why restricts Nigerians' movements into America for visa, through the visa system. And then according to the news also, because of the border closure to other African countries, punitive measure according to the news, for Buhari's stance on many things within Nigeria. And so we as a people have to bear the burden of what is happening, because Buhari don't care, he good, he's diplomatic, he can just fly in and out, and we don't have, like, he's not dealing with what we have to deal with. I'm not quite sure, because according to the news also, it says that the restrictions will affect more so in the government space. They'll restrict more of the government's movement. So we're not still confirmed on really how that will play into the masses and how that will affect the average Nigerian who wants to just travel for the summer and all of that. So we'll see how that will play and how that will go. But then yeah, that's pretty much the main issue that I'm looking at right now. And then the third one that came up was someone was this morning about how she's been losing business because of it's not easy to gain visa into Nigeria. That she had a small group pay her for a travel group thing where she's going to be the tour guide for a group of people, and because they spent the past month trying to get visa into Nigeria and just having difficult, just like tedious things and just ridiculous, whereas our neighboring countries don't ask those questions and they offer similar things. Well, no offense, but then, you know, the vibe is really here, but then yeah, to get into the vibe, it's so difficult that they're just gonna move their group to Ghana and spend their holiday in Ghana, Togo and Benin Republic instead. And so she was like, she's been having that problem a lot lately, where Ghana had spent so much money and time, because the whole year of return thing wasn't just a 1 year thing, it's been a long process. So Ghana didn't just wake up, the year of return happened. And so that has been making Ghana a lot more attractive country to visit, where of the people that flew into Ghana just last month for the Afrochella, Afro Nation concerts that happened there. And so they're doing a lot to be an attractive African destination, because we have East Africa, South Africa, and they're known for the safaris and nature. And West Africa, we got it really good over here also, but then we don't really have an attractive tourism space. So we then have Ghana acting as a beacon, because the government, they get sense. They've been doing stuff that would make their country become a more viable space, where you're saying, okay, hey, I want to experience Africa beyond the safari. Let me experience good food, because no offense to East Africa and South Africa, Our food in the West is the bomb. We have so much food culture, and Ghana does have really amazing food culture. So when you have people who want to come to Nigeria and experience the country, and it's so difficult to even get the tourist visa into our country, then it's not really helping the local tourism space here, because when you don't have people coming in to support the business, then how on earth will you have tour guides having jobs in the first place? So that's currently another problem where I've been hearing about this, but then just like that tweet made me think about, let me even share that on here and let me, get what you guys think about it, because I feel like we have a lot more problems than the visa problems. We have not the best tourism infrastructure locally. From point A to point B, driving is not very great. I know my car nearly flipped over a few last year, or no, 2 years ago, going to Ibadan for a long weekend stay, and that's just me with my SUV, and I was like, my airbags popped out. It was a hot mess, and that's just as a local. So then imagine travelers coming into this space trying to see and experience the beauty of this country, and because we don't have the basic stuff working, then how on earth will we attract people here in the first place? So that's an issue some tourist operators locally are facing, but hey, that's it for the heavy stuff. Let's go into the lighter stuff. So I'll share a link down below for travel deals happening right now. I got some emails from a couple of airlines saying they have deals. So I'm going to just post a link down below, and you can just look at what you think may be within your price budget. So enjoy that and let me know if you got some great sweet deals, because I know that I've gotten some really good ones. Well, Qatar has some really good ones right now. I know Cote d'Ivoire, they mentioned they'll be having some really sweet ones for Valentine period. I believe most airlines usually have like deals coming up now, because February to March, April is like their low travel season, and so they tend to have a lot more deals to push and sell their seats. That way they won't be like chopping Gary during that time. But yeah, so that's it for the travel deals. So just check the link below for whatever is going on right now, and then you can get the sweet deals happening right now. So next one is my travel story or tip for today is more so about hostels and traveling and staying in hostels while traveling. I was talking to a guy yesterday, and he was like, okay, he went to Istanbul and UK for the holiday last month, when January, last month, and he was like, oh, he went to London to spend some time with family and friends. It was lovely, it was cold. And then he went to Istanbul for 3 days, a long layover in Istanbul, and he had the best time there. And so I asked him, so were you staying in a hostel or were you staying in a hotel? If you've been to Istanbul before, they have like really like small boutique hotels when I went to when I've gone there, I've gone mainly to the old parts as Sultanahmet area. So he was in that area also, and he was in a small hotel there. And I'm like, okay, so why don't you do a hostel? And he was like, me care hostel. That's so sketchy. That's so scary. And like a whole Nigerian like you, how is a hostel scaring you? I'm sure you went to boarding school and everything. It's like, yeah, he did, but then still like the hostel idea is just like sounds very sketchy and weird to him. And I'm just like, I'm in my 30s. Can I afford a hotel stay? Yes, but then it's boring. Like, it is boring. They have many kinds of hostels. So for those who travel solo like I do, who want to go to a country and they're using a hotel, but then they're bored and can't really do much because they're bored. They spend all their time going to go see every historical building on their own, and they're just on the bus. I mean, it's not like a sad thing to do, because sometimes I want to just be that person where I'm not being social. I want to just go to so whenever I do travel for a long time, I will do like hostel, hotel, and in the hotel bit, I'm just on my own. I just want to just like be on my own, explore on my own, not really have the noise from people be around me. I want to just be in my own little space for that time. And so I understand the hotel factor there. But then for, let's say, a 1 week trip and you're in Istanbul for that 1 week, it's a bit boring. I find that for a solo traveler, particularly, you go to a hostel, you if you're in a good hostel, so whenever I pick a hostel, I don't pick like 7 star, 5 star rated hostels, because there's a lot of people who go to hostels. Many of us review, like many of us do review our stay in a hostel. Probably, well, not many actually, maybe like 1% of those who stay in a hostel review, and that's a large number, because most times it could be like a hostel that has maybe 200 folks staying there per night, coming through every day. So if you have 2 people every time reviewing that, within a month or so, you already have a pretty good number. So what I tend to do on my own end is, whenever I want to pick a hostel, I tend to look through the reviews. I first filter through for 9 out of 10 stars in the review category, and then I look at which ones have the most numbers with the reviews. So if you have a larger number of reviews and you're still at that 9 out of 10, that's a pretty good number. And then I look at location. So where is the hostel located at? Can I easily walk everywhere I want to go to and not have to go in a bus or in a cab and spend more money? Perfect. If they have a pretty decent social space, where some hostels have like a living room area with like chairs, you can hang out with people, play games with people. Some offer free breakfast. I love those ones the most, because breakfast, money being saved really for me, so I can have a really large breakfast and not have to eat till dinner time. So I save a lot of money by doing that, because I tend to do like longer travel time. So for a month of travel, every coin I can save counts for me, really. So with a hostel space, not all of them have breakfasts for free, but the ones that do get a lot more, like, thank you very much. Free breakfast, location, social space. Number one thing really is how clean that space is. So cleanliness is a big thing for me. Another big thing for me is, I like the bunk beds that have where you can cover with the curtains. Like, I used to go for the ones, well, back in the days they didn't used to have curtains with the bunk bed, but I believe like when I went through Japan about 4 or 5 years ago, I saw a lot of hostels that had the covers, the curtains, and I'm just like, that's where I want to be, because it's nice to just like retreat into your own space. I mean, yeah, it's only a curtain, but then having that little bit of privacy is a big thing for me. I like that extra bit of privacy whenever I can get it in a hostel. And I always ask for lower bunk bed. Security is a big thing. So reviews tell you a lot about a hostel, about the vibe, about how nice the people are, the staff, the food, the location, what else? Social. And so with a hostel, you get to have all of that, and you spend really little, like $7 on average was what I spend in a hostel. They have some posh hostels where you spend about $20 for the night, but then that's like, oh, it's like much more fancy with the egg station, you get a lot more happening over there. But then really the normal hostels with covers, with the basic stuff are fine by me. And the social bit also is a big factor as to why I do hostels, where in a hostel I find that when you get to go into a hostel, some people who like to have their own hotel room, get hotel room spaces in the hostel, but I'm a cheapskate, so I'll go for a bunk bed. If you want that hotel privacy space, they do offer those also in hostels, so just keep that in mind. At the same time, you have that social space where hanging out in the shared common space, you make friends easily. I know that when I was in Malaysia a couple of months ago, in Malaysia last month, I got into my bed, put my bag into my locker, and I made the guy who was staying opposite my bunk was like, oh, hey, hi, my name is, I can't remember my name, sorry. My name is da 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 da. Where are you from? Like, I'm from here. Oh hey, when you get like, just we became friends immediately. We became like travel friends. I'll call it travel friends. So I have many travel friends where you go into a room and it may be the same time somebody just checks in. So I'm not very fussy about getting the females only room. It depends on your preference. They have female only dorms, men only dorms, mixed dorms. You pick whatever you feel comfortable with. But then I usually just like select whatever is the cheapest available on that on the booking page. So if they have, maybe it's like $2 less to stay in a mixed dorm and it has more bunks there, as long as it has my curtains and the basic stuff, I'm not so fussy. So I just like pick that. Whenever I book it, I always put a request there, can I please have a lower bunk bed, because I can't come and kill myself. But yeah, so that's mainly my own headspace for that. And then socially, I know that whenever I travel, I usually make friends through that space. Like for the most part, like all of my trips so far are through hostels, where I go into a hostel from my roommates or from folks who are in the shared common space. We all become friendly, and I'm like, okay, what are you up to? What are you doing today? What's your plan? And then we all just simply hang out, and just if we have the same kind of vibe or some kind of travel plan, then we all just hang out together. And so you get to have a much faster and easy friendship being made. And sometimes they're lifelong friends, where I met some folks when I was traveling through Southeast Asia a few months ago. Met some people in Thailand. When I was in Bali, we hung out again. Met some folks in a small town in Philippines. 2 towns later, we're like, whoa, you're here, and we all hung out again. So sometimes you make those friends that make the experience even more richer, much richer than it would have been. Where you hang out during the daytime, and then downtime you can just like chill out at a bar, play card games together. If you want to go partying and go dancing, you have friends to go with you, and it's safer, I find. Where as a solo female traveler, traveling with people at night is the best way to go. It's safer. You don't want to be working at night in a new country where you don't know where is sketchy or not. So having that be pretty much built in within that space is just simply a common sense route for me. So whenever, I think when I was in Koh Samui, the weather wasn't great, so I didn't really do much in that town. But then the friends I made in that hostel, from 6 p.m. to like 3 or 4 in the morning, we were partying together, we were hanging out together. And then the same friends I met in Koh Samui, I hung out with in Singapore, and we had the whole like New Year's Eve party together. And so those are what I experience in hostels, where you don't get that in a hotel. It then, like in a hotel, usually people with couples or families, so like they're already in their own group space and not really open to people who are new. It's very rare you find a hotel group letting other groups come into their space. So it's usually best where if you're traveling solo, you hang out in a hostel or you stay in a hostel, and it's just easier to just simply vibe and flow in that space, in my opinion. But let me know what you think about hostels, and add on other tips you can help people who find hostel ideas sketchy and creepy or dangerous. Because this is a 34-year-old man, and his thing about hostel was, oh my gosh, that's so dangerous. And I'm just like, what? How? So yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my new travel segment. Let me know what you think, and let me know other tips you want to share with me for me to share on here. And I'll leave my email address down below, where you can just email me and let me know of other tips or stories you want to share, or just simply just put it in the comments down below, and I'll just share it with others if you're keen. So thank you. Countries. Oh, Nepal. Let me just put this on hold for now. Okay, we're back on it again. Nepal life. Subscribe. I can't even move. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, so are you following me yet? Are you subscribed to my channel? Have you hit the like button and the notification button? If not, kindly do so right now. I beg. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Subscribe.